Paint splatters on screen revealing a series of images, a woman playing violin, then in a bright pink costume, then in a blind skier penny atop a mountain. The paint drip splatters revealing text in print and braille. Unsightly opinions.
Hi, welcome to Unsightly Opinions. My name's Tamara. Today I want to talk about MoonO Life. This is a product that was gifted to me a few days ago, and it's supposed to be an accessible blood pressure monitor. As you know, I'm really passionate about universal design, accessibility. I want to be completely upfront that this was gifted to me with the expectation that I would do reviews, so I've put the product placement or paid sponsorship ad even though I'm not being paid to say these things. I want to be completely honest with you at every point that these are my genuine thoughts, they have not given me any canned lines to say, and that what I'm going to be telling you about this product is the whole truth as far as I can see it. Let's start by unboxing this together. I have taken the plastic off of it, but I have not set it up yet. The only thing that I did was plug it in to charge it so that while we do this review, it actually turns on. It has a very Apple feel to the box. The box is quite heavy. Once the box is open, there's this little piece of plastic on top. There is what seems to be a little package, again, very much in the Apple style, of probably documents relating to it inside this little sleeve. I imagine these are probably setup instructions in a variety of languages. There appears to be a couple of different brochures. That's not accessible. What I'd really love to see is something similar to what they did for Purdy's, with a raised QR code on the front and big bold text that says scan QR for accessible information. That would make it a lot more accessible than just being given a bunch of printed materials that I can't read. Next, we have what is the blood pressure monitor stand. It's pill-shaped and has a round, I think this is a screen at this end, with two buttons, one that is convex and one that is concave. So that's fairly accessible. I like that they're two different shapes so you don't confuse them. And then at one end, it has a plug-in where you plug in the actual blood pressure cuff. And then it came with a USB-C to USB charging cable, which plugs into the side under the concave button. It also comes with a nice storage bag carrying case. It feels pretty decent quality so far. It doesn't feel super cheap. And then we have the blood pressure cuff. I presume this one end of the blood pressure cuff plugs straight into the blood pressure monitor here. So I'm going to plug that into the end. That is exactly what happens. It slides in, it doesn't snap. It does have Velcro, but it's a very fine Velcro, so it doesn't feel like Velcro on the one end. So standard blood pressure cuffs, you have the connection coming straight out the antecubital side of your arm, or just the inside of your elbow. And let's see if I can do this up myself. I can do this up myself. All right, let's see if we can turn it on. And I will be comparing it to a manual blood pressure cuff that I know is accurate to make sure that this isn't all smoke and mirrors and does actually give you an accurate reading. Playing a lovely little song to us. Okay, we're playing a little scale. From what the description says, you're supposed to rest your arm on the nice little pillow next to the screen and then press the button. So I pressed the convex button to make it turn on.
Voice off.
And then the concave button apparently is the voice. I'm gonna press the power button, or what I'm gonna call the power button, one more time and see if the blood pressure cuff inflates.
Starting measurement. Please relax.
Oh, that's very reassuring. Please relax. Let's see if it squeezes my arm. It is inflating. I can feel it. My blood pressure is usually a little on the low side, but we'll see what this says. Definitely taking longer than some...
Over. Your blood pressure. Systolic pressure. 124 millimeter of mercury pillar. Diastolic pressure. 80 millimeter of mercury pillar. The pulse. 104 beats per minute. The measurement results is normal. Thank you, guest. Test data will not be saved.
So far, actually gave us a result that is rational. It took my pulse. It's unlike a standard blood pressure cuff in that it seems to only inflate. So it measures on the inflate rather than on the deflate, the way most automatic blood pressure cuffs do, which is a little bit strange. Am I missing any information on screen that's not being announced?
Correct posture for blood pressure measurement. So just kind of as you described, you'd want to have this at a tabletop so that you can rest your
arm on it
across the pad. Bluetooth off. It's got volume and battery life as well as maybe a count.
I know that it does pair with an app that I have played with a little bit that's kind of accessible, not perfect. So you can track and measure all of your details over time, which is good. I am going to play a little bit with the app, and I am going to set this up on a tabletop, get the camera set up again in a different location where it's comfortable. We're going to see how accurate this is compared to a manual cuff. Then I'm going to give you my final thoughts, so I'll see you in a minute. It's now a few days later and I've had some time to play with the MoonO and try it out a few times. I do want to mention that I have gotten some very inconsistent readings if you don't do it exactly the way it says you're supposed to in the manual, which is resting the back of your hand on the little rest that they have for you here and have your arm bent exactly at the correct angle. If you have it straight, if you have it bent too far, it's going to give you a reading of hypertension, or at least that's what it's been doing for me, and I've never been hypertensive in my life. But for accuracy's sake, I am going to compare it to a manual blood pressure cuff, and Robbie's going to keep track of the numbers for us so that we can see how accurate it is and whether it's doing its job properly. So I'm going to tell it to take my blood pressure now.
Starting measurement. Please relax.
And just like before, it seems to take the measurement while the cuff is inflating rather than while the cuff is deflating, like is typical with most other cuffs I've tried.
Measurement over. Your blood pressure, systolic pressure, 143 millimeter of mercury pillar, diastolic pressure, 68 millimeter of mercury, 127 beats per minute. The measurement results is hypertension stage 1. Thank you.
Okay, so it's suggesting that I'm hypertensive, and I highly doubt that's accurate given my diastolic blood pressure reading of 68. To suggest I'm hypertensive would be ridiculous. I suspect that the pulse rate is correct, but we'll check that as well. And we're gonna test this again in a minute and see if we get a different result. So let's go to the manual cuff and see what the manual cuff says. Okay, so let's get this manual cuff on. I'm gonna need your help here, Robbie. This is hard to put on one-handed. Oh, I did it, okay. Okay, so now I'm going to inflate the cuff.
Yeah, very slowly. 78.
110/78 with the manual cuff. Let's give MoonO one more chance here.
Measurement over. Your blood pressure, systolic pressure, 122 millimeter of mercury pillar, diastolic pressure, 67 millimeter of mercury pillar, the pulse, 130 beats per minute. The measurement results is normal. Thank you, guest.
Okay, and let's see what my pulse is right now. Robbie, do you have a stopwatch there? Okay, so 35 times 4 is 100 and, yeah, 35. About 135. So it's about accurate in terms of getting my pulse rate, so that's good, but it's not consistent in terms of taking my blood pressure. And you can see that I was doing it exactly the same way both times. Now that we've gone through everything, I want to talk about my thoughts and whether I think this is worth it or not. Let's start with the things I love. I love that they put a lot of effort into the form factor. Trying to make things look less medical and more inviting is so important for a lot of people, especially those with medical trauma. It's simple, that makes it easy to use. It only has 2 buttons. I love that about it. The cuff itself is lovely. The fact that you can tighten it yourself, it has this metal mechanism that lets you move it around comfortably without assistance is great. It has nice Velcro. It sticks well. I love that they put a lot of effort into the design. I love when any company tries to make an effort to make it accessible, especially for the blind or low vision community. I think there could be some slight improvements on navigation, maybe 1 or 2 extra buttons so you could go through all of the details that are on the screen, but it does present you the most important details. I know it does save to the app so that you can chart your data over time, which is very nice. The app is mostly accessible. I'm not going to get into that in this review. I know they're working on making it fully accessible, so that always makes me happy to hear. I think if they wanted to make some improvements to it, they could add a feature so it vibrates as well as announcing, so that it would be more universally accessible, so that those who are deafblind could be able to use it at the same time in long and short buzzes, just the same as an Apple Watch might do. And I think my biggest qualm with it is it isn't accurate. Because this is a medical device, I am going to judge it very harshly. Medical devices have to be accurate because people's lives depend on them, even something as simple as a blood pressure cuff. If it's telling somebody who is usually hypertensive that their blood pressure is sky high, that's grounds for going to the hospital. Same thing with somebody who has low blood pressure. If it shows extremely low, same thing. You're gonna end up in the hospital. And if it's giving you inaccurate information or it's not consistent, how can you rely on it to actually tell you what you need to know? My second qualm is that it is pricey. It's 149 euros to pick one of these up, so almost $300 Canadian. And for that kind of money, you want to know that what you're getting is perfect in every way. You don't want to buy something that is going to fail you half the time. And I have seen other talking blood pressure cuffs on the market for as low as $55 US. So given my experience with it, which take with a grain of salt, but I don't want to sell you something or tell you to buy something if I don't 100% believe in this product. And I don't know that I necessarily would buy one of these with my own money given my experience. And I know MoonO Life probably isn't going to be happy to hear that, but I don't want to be dishonest with you, and I'm never going to work with a company unless I can give my true and honest feedback on the product, good, bad, and ugly. So I am going to leave a link for MoonO Life if you want to check it out for yourself, but I would not recommend you buy this product. If you need a talking blood pressure cuff, I'm going to leave links to a couple of suppliers from Maxi Aids and Braille Bookstore who do have some talking blood pressure cuffs that you can pick up for much less money. I have not reviewed any of the ones that I'm going to be listing, so please check for yourself, read reviews, do your own research, and determine what's going to be the right thing for you. And when in doubt, always talk to your healthcare provider about any health concerns. They're going to be far more educated in what you need and what's appropriate for your care than I do. If you like other content like this, I have lots of unboxing videos coming up. I just received the OmniSense tip, so you'll be seeing a review on that very shortly. I'm also going to be reviewing the BI40X. That's in the works, but might take a little while to get here. If you've made it this far, please consider supporting the channel by liking, commenting, subscribing, engaging down below, or on any of my other social media accounts. Also want to remind you that I have a Discord link in the description, but it's only valid for 7 days after this video goes live. So if you're seeing this after 7 days, check my latest video for the updated Discord link. That's all I have for you today. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.